Okay, let's move on to the next part of Module 3, Section 4, or Lesson 4, and we're going to be taking a look at finding intercepts from a graph. This should be pretty straightforward because all we have to do is look at the graph and determine where it crosses the x-axis. So notice in this case we have the bird population that is inside an endangered species park. Notice when we first started, the bird population for this endangered species went down, it went up, peaked, then it went all the way down. So notice that the number of birds fell all the way down to 0. So when we're using the graph, the x-intercept looks like it's around 8 years. So I'm guessing it's around 8 years. And then the number of birds is around 50 when we start. That is the y-intercept. So that would be 50. That's what we're looking at for those values. Describe the meaning of the x and y intercepts. So the y-intercepts say that we start with 50 birds in the park. That's what we start with. At the end of 8 years, or after 8 years, the population becomes 0, so they become extinct right at that particular point. So that's what we have for those. Okay, so if we're looking at the answers, the x-intercept after 8 years, there are no birds in the park. The initial population was 50. That's exactly what we said. Okay, moving on. So finding intercepts from a table, this is also pretty straightforward. If you recall, I told you that when x is 0, that's when we have the y-intercept. So this is the y-intercept. So when x is 0, y is 80. So here is my y-intercept. To find the x-intercept, or x-intercepts, we can have multiple x-intercepts. We cannot have multiple y-intercepts. But in this case, when y is 0, x is 40. So we have 40 bags that have a weight of 0. So that would be my x-intercepts. So this is my y-intercept. This is my x-intercept. Remember, x-intercepts, y is 0. Y-intercepts, x is 0. So that's what we have there. So if we look at part A and part B, it tells you that kind of stuff. Drag them down to figure out what the x-intercepts are. So we know that my x-intercept is, so that's y is 0, so it's 40. And my y1 is 80. So we have that one there. And we can check that right away. So I have it 80. So notice that 40 is my x, 80 is my y. And describe what the x-intercept means in the context. So the box initially contains 80 ounces of some. Here's the number of bags. So and they're asking us to interpret the x-intercept. So that's when y is 0. So that means when we have no candy in the bag, we have 40 bags. Okay, that's how many bags that we have remaining. So we have 40 bags. Initially contains nope. The box initially contains nope. After creating 40, there will be no candy. No. After creating 80 bags, there will be no candy left in the box. So that's what it is. Okay. So no candy left in the box after we created 40 bags. So that should be C. Okay. Part B should be D. Oh, I'm sorry. I said that. I actually said that. Picked the wrong one. I should read those a little more carefully than guessing. Okay. So part C. Describe what the y-intercept means in the situation. So the y-intercept initially contains 80 ounces of candy. That would be A. Okay, so that's what we have for our answers. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And the next one's a check. This video's ending. You're going to go to the third video after you're done with the check.